Hey Guy, welcome back. Every year, more than 1 million AK-47 rifles get built across the globe. Folks say it's the most famous firearm on the planet. And truth be told, most of us have laid eyes on one, whether it was in a war movie, a video game, or some old black and white combat reel. But have you ever really stopped to think about how it's made? What keeps it going strong all these years? Well, today, we're heading over to Russia, where the biggest AK-47 factory in the world cranks out more than 1,000 of these rifles every single day. Most of them are bound for the deep stockpiles of armies in over 50 countries. We're fixing to take a good close look at how Russian steel, seasoned hardwood, and straight-up no-frills engineering come together to bring life to the most recognizable rifle ever built. So, go ahead and settle in, because we're about to walk you through it step by step, one piece at a time. Let's get to it. Step number 1. The design and the materials. It all started way back in 1947, when a young Soviet sergeant named Mikhail Kalashnikov set out to make an automatic rifle that was plain simple, tough as rawhide, and could keep on ticking no matter the weather, whether you were froze solid on the tundra or sweating through the grit of a desert wind. That's how the legendary AK-47 came to life, and truth be told, its core design hasn't strayed much since. Sure, they've fine-tuned a thing or two here and there to tighten up accuracy or make it feel better in hand, but the guts of it, the way it fires, the thinking behind how it's built, that stayed just about untouched for over 70 years. And just so you're clear, that name ain't pulled from a hat. AK stands for Automat Kalashnikova, which, plain and simple, means Kalashnikov's automatic rifle. And that number, 47? That marks the year it was born, 1947, when the first working prototype saw the light of day. To piece together this rifle, you only need two key ingredients: high-strength carbon steel and laminated hardwood, usually birch or beech. These show up at the factory in big bulk loads, where workers get to unloading and sorting so production can get underway. That steel gets hauled over to the big furnaces burning hotter than 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Once inside, the metal melts down and gets ready for precision shaping. As for the wood, it's sent off to the carpentry section, where it's dried, treated, cut, and pressed into all the right parts like the stock and the handguard. Once both them materials are well into their journey, that's when the true engineering kicks in on what's become the most built, most shipped, and most battle-hardened rifle this world's ever known. Step number 2, forging and shaping the parts. With that steel glowing red hot, the real work kicks off. The molten metal gets poured into big industrial molds that shape the base chunks for the rifle's main pieces: the receiver, the barrel, and the bolt assembly. Once they've cooled enough to hold their shape, those chunks head straight into some serious hydraulic presses, each one able to lay down up to 1,000 tons of pressure. These beasts of machines slam the steel with dead-on force, shaping it blow by blow. Every press pass carves out part of the rifle's backbone, building up the strong spots meant to handle the heat of each shot and the regular thump of recoil. Next, those halfway finished parts move on to automated lathes. That's where the real fine-tuning happens. The machines cut with precision, boring out the barrel's inner pathway and notching out slots where the rest of the moving parts will fit down the line. Right alongside that, smaller pieces, things like the trigger, the safety, and the magazine, are molded from hardened steel and built up separately, ready to be brought in when the time's right. And here's the thing: every step of this gets a close eye from the folks on the floor. If even the smallest defect shows up in any piece, it's tossed out without a second thought, no ifs, ands, or buts. See, the AK-47 earned its name for dependability, and that kind of rep don't allow room for sloppy work. That's why quality control starts with the very first hammer drop. Once all the metal pieces are ready, polished, and checked over, it's time to bring them together and make this machine fire. Step number 3, assembling the internal mechanism. With all the steel parts ready to go, we come to one of the most delicate stages, the assembly of the firing system. This is where the AK47 starts to come alive. First up is the bolt carrier, the heart of the action that chambers, fires, and ejects the cartridges. Then comes the recoil spring, the part that soaks up the kick and resets the rifle after each shot. This spring is what keeps the weapon firing in bursts without jamming up. Next, the workers install the hammer, the firing pin, and the trigger, all crafted from heat-treated steel, tough enough to withstand over 100,000 shots without bending or breaking. This whole assembly gets fitted into the receiver, a hollow, reinforced frame that acts like the backbone of the gun, holding all the moving parts together and absorbing the blast force. Once it's all assembled, the firing cycle gets tested by hand without any live ammo. Every part needs to move smooth as butter and fit just right. If anything's off, it gets fixed right then and there. And with the inner guts working like they should, the AK's firing system is locked and loaded. All that's left now is to wrap it up in its iconic steel cover and wooden frame, turning it into not just a fully functional weapon, but one of the most recognizable firearms on the face of the earth. Step number 4, body assembly and the outer finish. With the guts of the rifle already put together, it's time to dress the gun. This is where steel meets wood in a design that's plain, rugged, and downright legendary. First up is the upper metal cover, a stamped piece that shields the firing mechanism from dust and whatever the world throws at it. It's fitted snug right over the receiver and held in place with a rear pin, which makes it easy to take apart for cleaning or repair. Next, the workers attach the stock, handguard, and pistol grip. These are traditionally made from laminated wood that's been treated to stand up to heat and damp, though plenty of modern versions swap that out for reinforced polymers that are lighter and tougher. The barrel, already drilled and calibrated, is also set in place, secured to the body with tough-as-nails rivets and high-strength welds. Right above it goes the gas tube, which channels pressure from each shot to cycle the bolt automatically. This is also where the aiming parts go on, the adjustable rear sight and the front post, letting the shooter line up targets clean out to 400 yards. And finally, they lock in that iconic curved magazine, a signature part of the rifle. It holds 30 rounds and is shaped just right to keep the feed smooth, even when things get rough. The whole job is done with specialized tools and sharp-eyed supervision. Every part's got to fit just right, 'cause even the smallest mistake can throw the whole rifle off. Once the full body's together, the AK takes on its final shape, but before you can call it finished, it's got to prove it can run like it's meant to. Now it's time for the final tests. Step number 5, testing and quality control. With the rifle fully assembled, we hit one of the most critical stages of the entire process, making sure the thing actually works. There ain't no room for error here. Every unit's got to fire smooth, safe, and straight. First, the rifles are hauled out to a controlled firing range, either inside the factory or at a nearby military testing ground. Trained workers load the rifles with live ammo and let off full bursts. They check the full shooting cycle, making sure the rifle doesn't jam up, that it keeps a steady fire rate about 600 rounds per minute, and that all the internal parts can take the heat, pressure, and pounding without warping or breaking down. On top of that, they test accuracy by sighting targets downrange. Now, the AK ain't built to be a sniper rifle, but it still has to land solid hits past 300 yards without drifting too far off. If any part fails, the gun gets torn down, and the faulty piece is either swapped out or thrown out. Only the rifles that pass every single test are cleared to head for packaging. Step number 6, packing and storage. Once the rifle has cleared all its tests, it's ready to ship. But before that, each unit goes through one last phase packaging and logistics prep. A laser machine etches a unique serial number onto the body of the rifle, right alongside the year it was made and the country that built it. Then, the workers give the gun a thorough cleaning, wiping away any leftover powder, oils, or metal shavings left from the testing and giving it a light coat of oil to guard against rust. After that, the rifle gets partially broken down. They take out the magazine, the safety, and other moving parts, and it's placed into a reinforced individual box along with its user manual, basic maintenance tools, and sometimes extras like slings, cleaning kits, or spare parts. These boxes get stacked into standardized metal containers tough enough to handle bumps, moisture, and long hauls. Some containers hold up to several dozen rifles, all set and ready for bulk shipment to armories or military units. Every shipment is logged under strict protocols with production codes, serial numbers, destinations, and manufacturer info all tracked to the letter. Nothing's left to chance. And just like that, the AK finished, tested, and boxed up is ready to leave the factory and head off to hundreds of armies around the world. Step number 7. The legacy and global spread. With more than 100 million units built, the AK-47 ain't just the most produced rifle in history, it's also the most widely spread. It's been built in over 30 countries and hauled across borders in military crates, cargo ships, transport planes, and even ground convoys. From massive stockpiles to red-hot war zones, the AK has found its way to just about every corner of the earth. Folks reckon that 1 out of every 5 firearms in circulation is an AK-47 or a straight-up cousin, and the thing spreads so far and wide that in some conflicts, you could pick one up on the black market for less than the cost of a chicken. What might just be the biggest surprise is that Mikhail Kalashnikov, the man who dreamed it up, never saw a single royalty check. He worked under the Soviet government and passed on in the year 2013 without ever making a pile of money, but he died knowing full well his invention had changed the world forever. And there it is, one of the most iconic firearms ever to walk the earth. Built in just a handful of hours, thanks to a mix of clever engineering, keep-it-simple know-how, and ironclad precision. A rifle born behind the Iron Curtain, still rolling off production lines over 70 years later, leaving a mark on history that ain't likely to fade anytime soon. And while we're talking tools, machinery, and cranked-up efficiency, don't forget, this ain't just cold steel and mechanics. It's a weapon made to end lives, and the damage it's done can't be brushed aside. Now that you've seen the whole thing from start to finish, we want to hear from you. What caught your eye the most? What did you already know about this rifle before watching? Drop us a line in the comments, and if this video hit the mark, be sure to give it a thumbs up, share it with your folks, and subscribe to the channel for more deep dive builds and behind the scenes looks.